The massive screen in Earth's Defense Command Center flickered with urgent red warnings. Captain Tom Miller stared at the display, his coffee cup frozen halfway to his lips. The sensors had picked up something big, very big, moving at the edge of the solar system. "Sir, we're detecting a fleet of unknown vessels," reported Officer Reed from her station. Her fingers flew across the holographic controls as she pulled up more detailed scans. Initial count shows over 300 ships, and they're in attack formation. The room fell silent. 20 years of peace had made moments like these seem like distant nightmares. But humanity hadn't spent those years idle. They had prepared, trained, and built defenses that would make any alien force think twice about attacking Earth. Admiral James Thompson walked into the command center, his gray uniform pristine as always. At 65 years old, he had seen humanity's first contact, their first war, and their first victory. The lines on his face told stories of countless battles and hard-won peace. "Show me everything," he ordered, his voice calm and steady. The main screen filled with tactical data. The alien fleet was massive, bigger than anything they had seen since the Mars War. But unlike 20 years ago, Earth was ready. "Sir, the United Earth Defense Council is assembling for emergency session," announced Officer Reed. "They're requesting your immediate presence." The council chamber was a vast circular room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. 50 representatives from Earth's unified governments sat around a gleaming table, their faces illuminated by the soft blue light of holographic displays. "We should launch a preemptive strike," argued General Roberts, pounding his fist on the table. "Show them we're not the same weak species they fought 2 decades ago." "And risk another war," countered Ambassador Lee. "We lost 10 million people last time. We can't." "Enough." Admiral Thompson's voice cut through the chaos. He stood slowly, looking at each person in the room. "We're not going to strike first, and we're not going to cower in fear. We're going to send them a message." The room fell silent. Thompson walked to the center of the chamber, where a holographic map of the solar system floated in the air. The alien fleet showed as a mass of red dots, creeping closer to Neptune's orbit. "For 20 years, we've built our defenses. We've prepared for this day. But more importantly, we've learned." He gestured, and the hologram changed to show Earth's defensive capabilities. "We don't need to fire a single shot to win this battle." "What are you suggesting, Admiral?" asked the council president. "We show them exactly what they're facing. No ambiguity, no diplomatic doublespeak. We tell them what will happen if they continue their approach." Thompson nodded to Officer Reed, who had followed him into the chamber. She pressed a few commands into her tablet, and the room's lights dimmed. "Send the message," ordered Thompson. Across the solar system, every human communication array activated simultaneously. The message broadcast on all frequencies, in all known alien languages, and in perfect clarity. "To the approaching fleet, you are entering a protected solar system. 20 years ago, you tested our resolve. You learned we could fight. What you don't know is how much we've advanced since then. Every ship you see is a decoy. Every weapon you've detected is obsolete. We are not the same species you fought before." The message paused for effect, and Thompson continued. "This is not a threat. This is a courtesy. We have targeted each of your ships with weapons you cannot detect. We have defenses you cannot scan. We have allies you do not know about. You have 3 hours to change course. After that, we will demonstrate one, just one, of our current capabilities. The choice is yours. Earth Command, out." The council chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Some members looked worried, others impressed. Thompson stood calmly in the center, watching the holographic display of the alien fleet. "Was that wise, Admiral?" asked Ambassador Lee. "Showing our hand like that?" Thompson smiled slightly. "Who said we showed them anything? Sometimes, the best weapon is the enemy's imagination." In the depths of space, the alien fleet continued its approach. They had 2 hours and 58 minutes to decide if humanity was bluffing. They weren't. As the countdown timer ticked away in Earth's Defense Command Center, Admiral Thompson stood at the observation window of his office, looking at the distant moon. His mind drifted back to that terrible day 50 years ago, when humanity learned they weren't alone in the universe. He had been a young lieutenant then, fresh-faced and eager, when the first alien ships appeared over Mars. Nobody had expected the attack. Nobody had been ready. "Admiral," Officer Reed's voice brought him back to the present. "The archives you requested." She placed a small data cube on his desk. The holographic display activated, showing footage from the Battle of Mars. The images were still sharp in his mind, even after half a century. The Mars colony had been humanity's pride, the first permanent settlement beyond Earth. 5,000 colonists, scientists, and their families. When the alien ships appeared, they had no defenses, no weapons, just a few mining lasers and construction equipment. But what happened next changed the course of human history forever. "Play footage section M117, Thompson commanded. The hologram shifted to show a group of colonists who had modified their mining equipment into makeshift weapons. They had held off the alien ground forces for 3 days using nothing but repurposed tools and desperate ingenuity. "That's when we learned our greatest strength," Thompson said quietly. "Not our weapons or technology, but our ability to adapt." The footage changed to show the aftermath. The Mars colony was in ruins, but Earth had witnessed everything through their communication links. Within hours of the first attack, every nation on Earth had put aside their differences. Old enemies became allies. Private companies opened their research labs. Military secrets were shared. 6 months, Thompson continued, more to himself than to Officer Reed. "That's all it took us to reverse engineer their crashed ships. 1 year to improve their designs. 2 years to build our first fleet." The hologram showed the rapid advancement of human technology. Ships that combined alien tech with human innovation. Weapons that no one had thought possible before. But most importantly, it showed the birth of the Solar Shield program. "Sir," Reed hesitated, "is it true what they say? That we let some of their scouts escape?" Thompson nodded. "The best defense isn't just having strong weapons. It's making sure your enemy knows you have them." He walked to his desk and pressed a button. A hidden panel in the wall slid open, revealing a piece of twisted alien metal. "This is from the first ship we captured. Their materials were advanced, their weapons powerful, but they made one crucial mistake." He picked up the fragment. "They thought that because they were more advanced, they were smarter. They never expected us to turn their own technology against them so quickly." The room's computer chimed. 2 hours remained before their deadline to the approaching fleet. "What the aliens never understood," Thompson continued, "was that humans had been preparing for them long before they existed. Every war story, every science fiction tale, every movie about alien invasions. They trained us to think about the impossible. When the impossible became real, we were mentally ready." Reed looked at the battle footage still playing. "But this time we're not just ready in our minds." Thompson smiled. "No, we're not. After Mars, we built defenses into every part of our solar system. Automated factories hidden in asteroids. Quantum weapon platforms disguised as research stations. An entire fleet of ships that never show up on any scans." He turned off the hologram. "But our greatest weapon isn't any of those things. It's that we learned to work together. Humanity united not because we had to, but because we chose to." The computer chimed again. The alien fleet had passed Neptune's orbit and was still coming. "Sir," Reed reported, checking her tablet, "all defense systems are ready. Should we begin powering up the Jupiter array?" Thompson looked at the fragment of alien ship one last time before placing it back in its hidden compartment. "No," he said firmly. "Let them get a little closer. Sometimes the best lesson isn't the punch you throw, but the one you hold back." In the vast darkness of space, humanity's hidden defenses tracked every move of the approaching fleet. This time, Earth wouldn't be caught unprepared. This time, they weren't the ones who needed to be afraid. Inside the Titan command station orbiting Saturn, Major David West ran his final system checks. Through the reinforced windows, he could see the massive orbital ring that circled the moon. At least, the parts of it that weren't hidden. To most scans, it looked like a simple mining operation. In reality, it was part of humanity's most advanced defense network. All stations, report status, he ordered through the command channel. One by one, the hidden installations across the solar system responded. Each one had been carefully built over the past 20 years, disguised as research stations, mining operations, or civilian outposts. Jupiter Array, operational. Mars Defense Grid, ready. Venus Shield, active. Mercury Solar Lance, charged. The Major smiled. Even he didn't know about all of Earth's defenses. Each commander only knew about their own section, a security measure they'd learned from the First War. No single person could give away all of Earth's secrets. His screen blinked with an incoming transmission from Earth Command. Major West, begin activation sequence Delta 7. Admiral Thompson's voice came through clearly. But keep everything in shadow mode. Understood, sir. West typed in his command codes. Across the Saturn system, hidden weapons platforms began powering up, their energy signatures masked by the background radiation of the rings. Below the surface of Titan, automated factories hummed to life. They had been building drones for 2 decades, storing them in underground hangars. Each drone was smaller than a car, but carried enough firepower to take down a cruiser. And there were thousands of them. Sir, his second-in-command, Lieutenant Rogers, called out. The alien fleet has passed the Jupiter checkpoint. They're still not responding to the warning. West nodded. They'd probably think they know all our defenses, just like last time. He brought up a holographic display of the solar system. Red dots showed the alien fleet, but the blue dots representing Earth's forces were far fewer than reality. That was intentional. You know what's funny? Rogers said, watching the display. They think they're being sneaky, hiding some of their ships behind their main fleet, but our quantum sensors can see everything. That's the thing about being overconfident, West replied. You stop looking for tricks once you think you're the smartest one in the room. The station's AI announced another update. Drone swarms Alpha through Echo are now at standby. Antimatter containment fields at full power. Quantum entanglement networks synchronized. West remembered the stories from the First War, how Earth's militaries had to cobble together defenses from whatever they had. Now they had weapons the aliens couldn't even understand. Human scientists had taken alien technology and pushed it far beyond its original limits. Sir, Rogers suddenly called out. Look at this. He pointed to a section of the display showing the alien fleet's formation. They're spreading out, trying to create a wider attack front. They still think this is going to be a battle. West shook his head. They don't understand. We're not preparing for a fight. We're preparing to end one before it begins. His console lit up with another transmission from Earth. Admiral Thompson's face appeared on the screen. Major, they've just passed the final warning point. Begin power-up sequence for the demonstration. Yes, sir. West pressed his palm against the biometric reader. Which system should we demonstrate? The smallest one. Thompson replied with a slight smile. No need to show them everything at once. As West entered the commands, he thought about how far humanity had come. The underground cities on Earth that could shelter the entire population. The defense platforms hidden in plain sight. The AI systems that could predict and counter any known attack strategy. Makes you wonder, Rogers said quietly, what would happen if they knew what we really have? That's exactly why we never show everything, West replied. Sometimes the best weapon is letting them imagine what else we might be hiding. The alien fleet continued its advance, now passing the orbit of Saturn. They had no idea they were being watched not just by the Titan station, but by hundreds of hidden sensors, automated defense systems, and weapons platforms that officially didn't exist. In 1 hour, they would learn their first lesson about the new humanity. And if that wasn't enough, there were plenty more lessons waiting. The alien fleet had just passed Saturn's orbit when they made their first mistake. A small group of 5 ships broke away from the main fleet, accelerating ahead on an intercept course toward Earth. Scout ships detected. Officer Reed announced in Earth's command center. They're moving fast. Looks like they're testing our defenses. Admiral Thompson watched the tactical display with calm eyes. Right on schedule. They always send scouts first. He turned to the assembled command staff. Time to show them our first card. Contact Major West on Titan Station. The scout ships moved with confidence, their advanced stealth systems making them nearly invisible to normal sensors. They didn't know that Earth had been tracking them since they entered the solar system. Scout fleet is entering the Mars defense zone. Major West reported from Titan. They think they're hidden. Thompson nodded. Let them get a bit closer. We want their main fleet to have a good view of what happens next. The scouts passed Mars orbit, their sensors probing for Earth's defenses. To them, the space ahead looked empty except for a few civilian satellites and space stations. They're scanning our decoy defense grid, Reed reported, taking the bait exactly as predicted. Thompson pressed a button on his command console. All stations. Execute Operation Small Push. In the seemingly empty space between Mars and Earth, hundreds of quantum sensors locked onto the scout ships. These sensors were invisible not because they were hidden, but because they existed partially in another dimension. A technology reverse-engineered from the aliens' own ships and improved upon. Target lock confirmed. West's voice came through. Ready on your command. The scout ships were now inside the kill zone. They still saw nothing unusual on their sensors. Now, Thompson ordered quietly. From the darkness of space, a single beam of light shot out from what appeared to be a normal communications satellite. The beam hit the lead scout ship, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the ship simply disappeared. Not with an explosion, not with debris. It simply ceased to exist, its matter converted to energy and dispersed harmlessly into space. The remaining scout ships immediately tried to scatter. They fired up their emergency drives, weapons coming online, but they were already caught. 4 more beams, each from a different hidden platform, reached out across space. 4 more ships vanished without a trace. In the command center, Thompson watched the main alien fleet's reaction. Their neat formation had broken slightly, ships shifting positions as they processed what they'd just witnessed. Send the second message, he ordered. Officer Reed activated the communication systems. This time, the message was brief. That was one weapons platform, set to its lowest power setting. We have thousands. You have 1 hour to retreat beyond Neptune's orbit. There will be no further warnings. The main alien fleet had stopped advancing. Their formation tightened as they regrouped, probably trying to figure out what kind of weapon could make ships disappear so completely. Sir, Reed reported, we're detecting massive energy readings from the alien fleet. They might be preparing to attack. Thompson smiled slightly. No, they're powering up their long-range scanners, trying to figure out what they missed. Let them look. On his private screen, Thompson watched the real tactical display, the one showing all of Earth's defenses. The quantum displacement beam they just demonstrated was actually one of their older weapons. The really impressive stuff was still hidden. Major West, Thompson called. Status of the Jupiter array. Charged and ready, sir, though I hope we don't need it. Might be a bit much to vaporize half their fleet on the first day. Agreed. Thompson stood up, walking to the main window that overlooked Earth. Sometimes the best victory is the one where you don't have to destroy your enemy. Just convince them that they can't destroy you. The alien fleet remained motionless, their powerful sensors sweeping the space around them. But they wouldn't find anything. Earth's best defenses weren't hidden by stealth or tricks. They were hidden by science the aliens hadn't even discovered yet. The countdown clock showed 55 minutes until the deadline. Now it was the aliens' turn to decide, retreat, or find out what else humanity had learned in the past 20 years. With 10 minutes left on the countdown, the alien fleet finally moved. Not forward toward Earth, but back, retreating to Neptune's orbit as demanded. Their tight battle formation had loosened, showing their uncertainty. "They're sending a transmission," Officer Reed announced. On the main screen, symbols began appearing, the alien language they'd first learned 20 years ago. "They're requesting a meeting," she translated. "Their Supreme Commander wants to talk." Admiral Thompson straightened his uniform. "Well, let's not keep them waiting. Tell them we'll meet on Europa Station. Neutral ground." The Europa Research Station floated in orbit around Jupiter's ice-covered moon. Built after the First War, it served as Earth's diplomatic outpost for alien contacts. Its large meeting chamber had artificial gravity set to match most known alien species preferences. 6 hours later, Thompson stood at the station's observation window, watching the approaching alien shuttle. It was smaller than their warships, but still impressive, its black hull reflecting Jupiter's eternal storms. "Their shuttle has passed all security scans," Major West reported from his temporary station on Europa. "No hidden weapons or devices detected." The alien shuttle docked smoothly. When its doors opened, 3 figures emerged. They were tall, their environment suits making them look bulkier than they were. The leader's suit had golden markings on the shoulders. Thompson waited in the meeting room, 2 guards standing quietly behind him. The room's quantum sensors monitored everything, ready to detect the slightest threat. The alien leader entered first. Following diplomatic protocol, they removed their helmet, revealing features that humans had once found terrifying, but now were simply familiar. Gray skin, large eyes, and ridge-like markings on their face. "Supreme Commander," Thompson nodded in greeting. "Welcome to Europa Station." The alien commander's translator conveyed their words in perfect English. "Admiral Thompson, your demonstration was impressive. That's one word for it." Thompson gestured to the chairs. "Shall we discuss why you brought 300 warships into our solar system?" The aliens sat down, their movements showing a mixture of pride and caution. "We received reports that humans had developed technologies beyond your expected growth rate. We came to verify these reports by bringing an invasion fleet." Thompson kept his voice calm but firm. "A precautionary force," the commander corrected. "Your species advances too quickly. 20 years ago, you could barely leave your planet. Now," they gestured vaguely at the station around them. Thompson leaned forward. "Now we can make ships disappear with a single shot. That bothers you, doesn't it? Not the weapon itself, but the fact that we built it by improving your own technology." The alien leader's skin changed color slightly, a sign of discomfort in their species. "Our scientists say that's impossible. The rate of advancement you show defies all known development patterns." "That's because you think in patterns," Thompson replied. "We think in possibilities. Every time we see something new, we don't just learn how to use it. We learn how to make it better." The second alien, marked as their science director, spoke up. "Our analysis shows your technological level should be at least 50 years behind where it is now. It's not natural." Thompson actually laughed at that. "Natural. We spent thousands of years dreaming about the stars, imagining what we'd do when we got there. When you attacked Mars, you didn't just show us what was possible. You showed us that all our dreams could come true. We just needed to work harder, think bigger." He stood up, walking to a wall display that showed the solar system. "This meeting isn't about our technology. It's about fear. You're afraid because we don't follow your rules of development. We don't advance step by step like other species." The alien commander stood as well, their height towering over Thompson. "We are not afraid. We are concerned. Your species is unpredictable." "Good," Thompson said firmly. "Remember that feeling. Because if you're concerned about what you've seen, imagine what you haven't seen." Now shall we discuss the terms of a real peace treaty? One based on mutual respect, not intimidation. The aliens exchanged looks, their skin colors shifting through various emotional states. Finally, the commander nodded. "We will listen," they said, "but we have questions, many questions." Thompson smiled. "Of course you do. But first, let's be clear about one thing. Earth isn't just ready for the future. We're helping to shape it. The only question is whether you want to be our allies or our cautionary tale." 3 days into the negotiations on Europa Station, the aliens finally asked the question that had been bothering them most. Admiral Thompson had been waiting for it. "Show us your true defenses," the alien commander requested during their morning session. "We need to understand what we're dealing with." Thompson looked at Officer Reed, who had joined him for this session. She nodded slightly. Everything was ready. "Very well," Thompson said. "Major West, initiate protocol full disclosure." The room's holographic systems came to life, showing a 3-dimensional map of the solar system. At first, it looked normal planets, moons, asteroid belts. Then new layers started appearing. The alien delegation's reaction was immediate. Their skin changed to pale gray, a sign of shock in their species. "Impossible," the science director whispered. "These energy readings, they're higher than our entire civilization's output." The map showed the true extent of Earth's defenses. The Jupiter array wasn't just a weapons platform. It was a massive energy collector using the gas giant's storms as power. The Mars defense grid extended throughout the asteroid belt, using miniature wormholes to connect its parts. The Venus shield could redirect the star's own solar flares as weapons. "This is just the visible part," Thompson explained. "The part we're willing to show you." The alien commander stood up, their height impressive even in the diplomatic chamber. "Why? Why build all this?" "Because of what you taught us 20 years ago," Thompson replied. "When you attacked Mars, you showed us 2 things. First, that we weren't alone. Second, that the universe wasn't safe." He walked to the hologram, pointing to Earth. "But you also taught us something about ourselves. Humans don't just adapt, we transform. We take ideas and make them better. We see problems and find solutions no one else thought of." The science director was still studying the displays, their analytical mind trying to process what they saw. "Your quantum technologies, they're at least 3 generations ahead of ours, even though we introduced them to you." "That's because you see technology as a ladder," Reed spoke up, "each step following the last in order. We see it as a web. Everything connects to everything else. When we learn something new, we don't just use it, we combine it with everything we already know." Thompson nodded. "Did you know that some of our best quantum scientists were originally musicians? They understood wave harmonics in a way your specialists never considered. Our best AI developers were poets and artists who thought about consciousness differently." The alien commander sat back down, their posture showing resignation. "This is why the Council fears you. You don't follow the normal rules of development. You take leaps that should be impossible." "Want to know our biggest secret?" Thompson asked. He pressed a button, and the hologram changed again. Now it showed Earth's entertainment archives. Thousands of years of science fiction stories, movies, and games. We've been preparing for space travel, alien contact, and interstellar war for centuries before we even left our atmosphere. In our minds, we've lived through every possible scenario. We've imagined technologies that shouldn't exist, then figured out how to make them real. The aliens watched in silence as the display showed clips from old movies, faster than light travel, energy weapons, defensive shields. Many of these imagined technologies were now real, some even more advanced than their fictional counterparts. "Your species dreams too big," the science director said finally. "It makes you dangerous." "No," Thompson corrected. "It makes us ready. Ready for anything. Ready for everything. We don't want war. We never did. But we will never be victims again. He switched off the hologram, leaving the room in normal light. Now let's discuss real peace, not based on fear or power, but on understanding. We're going to keep advancing, keep improving. You can either work with us and grow together, or stand aside and watch us pass you by. The alien commander looked at their colleagues, then back at Thompson. The council will need to know everything we've learned here. Good, Thompson smiled. Make sure you tell them one more thing. What you've seen today isn't our limit. It's just our beginning. In the silence that followed, both species knew that the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had not just caught up. They had redefined the race entirely. 1 month after the tense first contact at Europa Station, Earth's Defense Command Center was hosting a historic moment. Admiral Thompson stood before representatives from both humanity and the alien civilization, now known to be called the Stellar Assembly. The terms of the agreement are simple, Thompson said, his voice carrying across the large chamber. Earth and its solar system remain independent. We will share some of our advancements, carefully and gradually, in exchange for free trade and cultural exchange. The alien commander, who had remained on Europa Station throughout the negotiations, nodded their large head. The Assembly accepts these terms, but we have one condition. Certain technologies must remain contained within your solar system. Agreed, Thompson replied. We understand the responsibility that comes with power. Officer Reed brought forward 2 data tablets, 1 human, 1 alien. The treaty was simple but powerful. Earth would join the galactic community not as a junior member, but as a full partner. More importantly, they would keep their independence. As the leaders signed the agreement, Major West was overseeing a different kind of operation from his station near Saturn. The massive defense platforms, which had caused so much concern among the aliens, were powering down. Not shutting off, just returning to their quiet watching mode. Testing final configuration, West reported through the command channel. All systems nominal. On Earth, people gathered in cities and towns, watching the ceremony on huge screens. They had lived with the memory of the Mars attack for 20 years. Now, finally, they could breathe easier, not because they were safe from aliens, but because the aliens were finally treating them as equals. There's something we want to show you, Thompson said to the alien delegation after the signing. He nodded to Reed, who activated the main display. The screen showed a new ship design. Unlike anything either human or alien had built before, it combined the best of both civilizations' technology, but with improvements that made it uniquely human. Our first joint project, Thompson explained, an exploration vessel, not for war, not for defense, but for discovering what else is out there. The alien science director studied the design with obvious interest. The power systems, they're based on our quantum drive, but you've modified them somehow. We call it the Hope-class vessel, Reed said, because that's what space should be about. Hope for the future, not fear of each other. The alien commander turned to Thompson. You're full of surprises, Admiral. First, you show us weapons that make our best defenses look primitive. Then you propose building ships for peace. That's humanity for you, Thompson smiled. We prepare for the worst, but always hope for the best. As the ceremony concluded, Thompson walked to his office window. Earth looked peaceful from space, its blue oceans and white clouds hiding the massive underground cities and defense systems that had impressed the aliens so much. Sir, Reed joined him at the window. The alien fleet is departing. All ships accounted for. Thompson nodded. And our hidden platforms. Still undetected. Even with the peace treaty, we're keeping most of our defenses secret, just like you ordered. Good. Thompson watched a shooting star cross Earth's atmosphere, probably a piece of space debris, or maybe one of their countless automated defense satellites. Peace through strength isn't just about showing power. Sometimes it's about keeping a few surprises in reserve. Reed checked her tablet. The public announcement is ready. Should we tell them everything? No, Thompson decided. Tell them we've made peace, that we're equals now. They don't need to know about all our defenses or the full extent of our capabilities. Let them focus on the future, on building things together rather than preparing for war. As the sun rose over Earth's horizon, casting golden light across the space station, humanity had achieved something remarkable. They had turned a potential invasion into a partnership, fear into respect, and most importantly, they had done it without firing a shot. The aliens would always remember this as the day they learned that humanity wasn't just ready for the stars. They were ready to help lead the way to them. Not through force or fear, but through the same creativity and determination that had turned them from primitive planet-bound creatures into a solar system-spanning civilization in just a few short decades. Earth's final warning had become a greeting, and the galaxy would never be quite the same again.